Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner. It is Monday the 18th of September and here's the daily technical update. Today we'll start with Société General, or SocGen as it is also called, that has announced a new strategic plan. I have no comments on the plan, but the market has, and it is currently trading around a little bit below the rising trend line here. And I wouldn't be too worried unless it actually closes below 23.80. But it is a little bit worrying from a technical perspective that it made this gap here. So something to keep an eye on. Moving on to S&P 500. The sell-off Friday, well, we weren't even close to being rejected at 45.40. We could be resuming downtrend. As you can see here, the RSI is still in a negative sentiment, so it looks a little bit heavy on the US market. Same picture on Nasdaq 100, still in a negative sentiment. We are bouncing a little bit higher this morning, but not much. European market, DAX, still in this range between 15,482 and 16,060. That is the key resistance to look out for any upside, despite the fact that I actually broke this short-term falling trend, but it's not that strong, it's not that important. It's just a guideline. We are still below the 55 and the 100 moving average. AX didn't even come close to test the, about a euro or something like that on the... to test the very strong resistance and 750, so we are still in this range here with a negative undertone. Belgium market, yes, it closed above 3,696, but it's still below the 200 moving average, which is flat. Seems like it's acting quite a bit as a resistance. And we have RSI still in a negative, didn't close above 60, so we could soon resume downtrend again. And also very interesting on CAC 40, that actually was above the resistance at 7,005, and if it had closed above that level, then it would have been in a bullish sentiment and a bullish trend. But it didn't, and now we are down testing the falling trend line, and I wouldn't be surprised if we slide lower. And some of it could be also due to Société General. Moving on to the FX markets, we have euro dollar, very interesting, and I think we need to look at the weekly also. So 106.35 is the spike down here back in May, June. But what is also interesting, it is right here on the weekly, as you can see, we have the 55 weekly coming up, acting as a support. The RSI on weekly bouncing off 40, so we could see a correction. There was a little bit of warning already just before we broke below this minor support here, which I wrote about. I'll do an update later today saying that, well, this is a really key support level for these two reasons. Euro sterling. Once again, it seems like it will test the upper falling trend line in this descending triangle-like pattern. If it breaks back above, if it takes out this little spike here at 86.30, well, then there is resistance at 86.70 around that level, the 200 moving average. But it would give room up to around 88. But let's see if it can actually move that far. But it's been depressed for quite some time, and if it breaks bullish, it could be very interesting. Cable grinding lower slowly towards the 123, key strong support. We are below the 200 moving average, and it seems fairly heavy here on cable. I think we will have a correction higher towards the upper falling trend line once we hit 123, which I believe we will do. Of course, there's no guarantees. Dollar yen seems like it's caught here between the 146 and 148, struggling for further upside momentum. The divergence on RSI, so a little bit depressed there, but it can't really get upside momentum towards 150. But if it really takes out that level, I think we will do a little bit of this one here. You can see it's really around that level, just below 148. Keep an eye on that if it can actually move higher. Euro sterling still range bound. Aussie yen 95 seems to be stronger than anticipated. It actually closed just above. We are in an uptrend, but as you can see here, the 60 level hasn't been broken. It's still closed below. And the dollar index very close to 105.80, which is really strong resistance. We should see a correction either before or at least when it hits, if it hits 105.80. So that's really something to look out for. Finally, I forgot to mention the Aussie dollar here. Still a little bit range bound, should see higher move towards 65.25. That is the key resistance to look out for. If it breaks above, well, then there's further upside potential. Gold bounced off 1900. I think it dipped down. No, it didn't dip down. 1901 actually, but 1900, between 1900 and 1950, I would expect gold to be range trading here for at least on the short term, maybe a week or two before we actually get a breakout from that level. Silver bounced off 22.25 here, retraced a little bit, and I think we will see it up to around 23.50 level here in a couple of days. Copper still hovering around 382, not so much to say, but on the energy front, and let's just zoom that one in, sorry about that guys, there is room up till around 98.75 on the Brent, but it already moved 200% of this correction here, so it's really stretched, but a little bit overboard. But there's no divergence, meaning we could go higher on Brent, and we are likely to do so both on the medium term and short term. WTI also higher. Room up to 93.48, very stretched at the moment, but again, there's no divergence, so the trend is fairly strong. On the yield side, we have US 10-year yields finally taking off from the, let's zoom in a little bit, sorry about that, and above the 430 resistance at 436. There should be room up to 448. That's the target I have had for a couple of weeks now, and I think we will move there in a couple of weeks' time. It seems fairly strong uptrend. We are back above the 60 threshold, and 448 is the short-term target, possibly testing the upper rising trend line there. All right, that's all for today. It was a little bit quicker than normal, but that's good. And I hope that you like that I put in the small timestamps, so it gives you a guidance for when I start talking about the varied asset classes. All right, thank you very much for today, and happy trading.